And today, instrument approach plates. I'm gonna give you an overview of how to look at your approach plates, how to understand them, how to read them, and where to get the information that you're looking for on them. And if you're just getting into your instrument flying training, you may be made it past the first phase and now you're getting ready to actually go shoot some approaches. You need to be familiar with what's on those approach plates. First thing, let's pull up an approach plate. I'm gonna pull up the ILS Localizer 2.5 for the Newport News William Burks International. So when we look at this approach plate, there's a lot of information on here, and we want to break down the different parts of the approach plate. We'll start from kind of top to bottom to give you a good understanding of what we're looking at and kind of break it up. In the top portion, you have your pilot briefing information. The top right, you see the name of the approach, so ILS or Localizer runway 25, and then it has the name of the airport, Newport News William Burks International. PHF, that's going to be the three-letter identifier. To the left of that, you see in the center, you have the AL 957 FAA. What does that mean? That's just letting you know the issue number and who the authority is, which is the FAA. To the left of that, you see Newport News, Virginia. Lets you know which city and what state this approach is in. And then under that, you have the Localizer DME, you have the frequency, and any channel associated with the NavAid for this approach. You have the approach course, you have the runway landing distance, touchdown zone elevation, and then the airport elevation. Under there, you have the T and the A, and that's the trouble T if there was any takeoff minimums, alternate minimums. Your missed approach instructions in text form. So climb to 500, then climbing right turn to 2500 on heading 080 and CCV Vortac radio 254 to Hasba intersection on the DHY 11.6 DME and hold. That's just your missed approach instruction in text form. You also have it on a different part of the approach plate in a more of a visual representation. You have the different frequencies for the airport. So you got ATIS, approach, tower, ground control clearance, and Unicom. Here's something I didn't know, but when you're flying into an airport, if you pull up the approach plate from left to right, are the frequencies that you need in the order that you need them. You'll need your ATIS first, then you'll get approach, and then you'll have tower, then ground. So it's right in order. Below that, you have plan view. This is the section that is going to give you basically the guide's eye view of what the approach looks like. And if this is your first time looking at approach plate, it looks really confusing. There's all sorts of lines and letters and all sorts of stuff on here, which is why it takes time to really look at it and pay attention to the different parts of it. Depending on where you're coming from, and where you're starting your approach is going to help you better understand how to look at this section. This is going to show you your different feeder fixes. So in this case, feeder fixes are Harcum. Then down you have Norfolk as another feeder fix. And then even Cape Charles could be a feeder fix, but it's also an initial approach fix, which your initial approach fix is where you can start your approach. It has the frequencies for the different feeder fixes. Then the solid line there shows where the approach is. It even depicts the hold for the approach, altitude restrictions, radios on how to identify the different points on the approach, the frequencies within the boxes. Then it also has the MSA within 25 miles is 1800 to the northeast, and then 2300 everywhere else. So it gives you just some situational awareness around. Or obstructions that could be a factor. Valid dates of 24 February 2022, 24 March 2022. Right at the top of the plan view, it has the visual representation of the missed approach instructions. Your missed approach instructions straight ahead to 500, right turn 2500 on a heading of 080 to the CCV 254 radio to Hasba intersection. Has some notes in there talking about the vertical glide slope intercept and the ILS not being in the same place. In the profile view, it shows the different altitude restrictions coming in at 247. You have to be between 2,000 and 6,000. It shows the hold inbound of 247 and outbound of 067 from the vertical profile view as opposed to the plan view, but it still depicts where the hold's at. It shows you where your final approach fix is and where your glide slope intersect is right there at Steve. Shows the path that you should fly in order to follow the procedure. Now, if you're doing an ILS, that's going to be your precision approach, and you're going to fly that all the way down till you get to 241, and that'll get you to 200 feet above the runway. If you don't get the runway in sight, then you'll execute the missed approach instructions. Below that, you'll have the localizer. So it says Localizer 2.5. For the localizer, you will fly down to a minimum descent altitude and fly until you get to the missed approach point. So you're only going to get horizontal guidance, but not vertical guidance if you're just doing the localizer procedure. Instead of going down to 241 feet, you'll go down to 480 feet, and at which point, when you get to the missed approach point, which is DHY at 0.3, which also is the end of the runway, if you get there before getting the runway in sight or being to land, then you'll execute the missed approach. Below that is your circling minimums. It's a miniature version of the airport diagram and gives you more essay on what the actual airport looks like, or the runway looks like as you're going into it, so you kind of know what you're looking for. And on the bottom of that, it shows the FAF to MAP 6 nautical miles. What that's saying is from the final approach fix to the missed approach point, it's 6 miles. And depending on your ground speed, if you hack your clock at your final approach fix, if you're going at ground speed at, let's say we're going 90 knots, at 4 minutes, we'll be at our missed approach point. If we don't have the runway in sight, we go missed. Here's 2 things I want you to do to help you better understand how to review and understand the instrument approach procedures. Pull up the instrument approach procedure for whatever your local airport is and go through and look at all the different symbology of it. Open up the legend and go through, and if you don't know something on that airport diagram or that instrument approach procedure, I want you to look at the legend to help you better understand it. And that's really how you're gonna get to better understand how to look at the instrument approach procedures and better understand what they are and what they're talking about. KT out!